why don't I hear about more people reading these books? Hello and welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you are new. My name is Callie and we all know the same books keep popping up on Book Talk, BookTube, any type of media where you consume books. At least me, I see the same exact books being talked about. Something's popular, everyone reads it, everyone's talking about it. But today, I want to talk about the hidden gems. These are books I've read and I've loved and I hear nobody talking about. These are just some of the hidden gems that I have on my bookshelf. So if you're looking for something new, check out some of these books. Now, most of these books I have found through either Instagram or TikTok for the most part. I found indie authors promoting their books and either joined an ARC team or straight up bought the book, read it, and loved it. Not all of these are indie authors, but there are a good handful of them. And at least that were indie authors when I read the book. I feel like some of them might be getting traditionally published now, but I'm not sure. And some of them already are traditionally published. I just love discovering new underhyped books that deserve way more recognition and sharing them with others. These are books mostly in the romantasy genre. There is one political fantasy and a couple of, I think, contemporary romances, kind of. Maybe not contemporary romance, but in like the romance-ish genre. I do not have all of these physically, so the ones that I don't have physically, I'll just put the picture up for you. Death's Kiss by M.M. Reeves is one of my all-time favorite books, probably ever. I actually got the opportunity to read this book on Kindle from the Nerd Fam and the author. I was sent an early copy to read, and I thought at first I saw it was like 750 pages. I was like, you got to be kidding me, right? This is a brand new book out there in this space. Like, why does it need to be 750 pages? I will say, I wish it would have been longer. I was so sucked into this book. I could not put it down. I think I'm exaggerating a little bit. I don't know if it was 750 pages, but it was long. I wish there was so much more, and I cannot wait for book 2. We're following the best found family I've ever read. There's this group of girls, and they are pirates, essentially. They are at this kind of school-like setting, and I don't want to say too much because it really truly was. All of these books, I'm just going to give you like a little overview of because truly it was so good to read them blind and not have anyone's opinions of them. And I think that's why I loved it so much as well. But you've got enemies to maybe allies, back to enemies. Didn't really get to the lovers part at all, but you know who the main male interest is going to be, and there are plot twists. Such good plot twists. And these characters, they do get special powers as well. So it's a very interesting sea-based concept. And there is trials. It did remind me a little bit of Goblet of Fire from Harry Potter, but stands on its own, completely obsessed with this. Like I said, I've never read found family like this. The banter, the tension, oh my gosh. These girls are freaking hilarious. They are badass hot female pirates. I mean, the men, I'm assuming they are too. They're badass hot male pirates, but the females really sell this book. Love them. Very rich world building, morally gray characters, extremely emotional. Not in the sense of it made me cry emotional, but emotional like you're getting to know these characters and their story and you feel for them. You are part of that group. You are part of their found family and you are just as appalled or upset if something goes wrong. But when something goes right, you're just as like excited for them. So emotional in that way. Pretty high stakes. Loved the writing style. To me, there is nothing that I would change in this book. It is just perfection. Cannot wait for book 2. Heart of Chaos by Madeline Elliot is a romantasy with dragons. And I don't know if you would call it soulmates, fated mates, but done in a very, very, very unique way. I have not seen it done in this way before. I'm very grateful I got to ARC read this book as well, and I just loved it. I have not flown through a book this fast. It's just short of 400 pages, but I flew through it less than half a day. Flew through this book, did not put it down from the second I picked it up. This is Dragon Shifters. But again, I don't want to tell you why it's unique because it was shocking to me. And I don't want to ruin that surprise. It was just very, very good. It did not have as much world building as I would have liked. However, it didn't take away from the story either. It's very easy to read, very easy to consume. Emotional stakes in this one are different than the way they were in the first one, but just as good in its own way. I did not feel like this was as much of a high stakes book as the last one, and it did end at a place where like I was completely fine with. It like wrapped up the story that it was telling, and yes, I do want to read the next book the second it comes out, but it wasn't one of those cliffhangers where I'm dying and like I'm pissed off at the world because I don't have the next book. So this is one of those books that's good to read without having the rest of the series. You don't need it. You can wait nicely and excitedly for the next one without it emotionally affecting your day. I feel like whenever there's dragons, someone's always like, well, is it like Fourth Wing? No. No. I don't think anything is like Fourth Wing. I don't know how anyone compare anything to Fourth Wing, truly, because Fourth Wing is its own thing. Now, if you like eerie, emotional stories, kind of like dark fairy tale vibes of it, you want to try The Bonekeeper's Daughter. It's got some mystery. We're following the Bonekeeper, who is the first female Bonekeeper that's in this like kind of tribe. And she can speak to bones. Very unique magic here. I've not seen this type of magic either. If someone has died, she can help them put their soul into a bone, into their bones. And then the bones go into the wall or into the buildings, and they are kind of like protecting the town. She can hear them speak. They can speak to her. She can help families commune with their ancestors. And sometimes she'll tell them that their ancestors are not proud of them and they need to shape up. Kind of reminded me of Mulan in that aspect. But like there's only one Bonekeeper. It's a very like haunting and atmospheric writing style. And there were some dark moments in this. So if you don't like dark fantasy, you won't like this, but I ate it up. This was another book that was extremely long that I wish I actually had more of. There was a plot twist at the end of this book where my jaw dropped and I was like, no freaking way did this just happen. Who does this? Who gives me this ending and then leaves me like that until the next book is written? That is the type of ending of this book. And because she is the first female Bonekeeper, she has more trials to go through because, of course, if you're the first female Bonekeeper and they're used to a man holding that position, you're going to have to work for your respect. Just is what it is. But because of that, she's able to grow. And you're going to see her growth and you're going to see what happens when she comes into her own. And it is such a fantastic read. I think Good Grief came out recently, but I read it as an ARC months ago. And this was one of those silly little ARCs that I got. Not silly in the way of the content of the book, but something that I wouldn't normally ever pick up. It's a book, it's called Good Grief. It's about grief. It is about a woman who loses her husband very, very young. And she has, I believe, 2 children that she's raising by herself. And her mother stayed with her for a while. And finally, she's like, Mom, you got to go. You got to go. I need to do this on my own. It's time for me to stand on my own 2 feet. So Mom leaves. The next day, her mother-in-law shows up at the door, knocking at that door. She opens it and all of her mother-in-law's bags are out there. And she's like, I think her mother-in-law came from, I don't know if it was Russia. It's another country, so she has an accent with some of the way she speaks, or like she has different types of sayings that are from her country. And basically she's like, I've been through this before. I lost my husband. You need me and you don't know it yet. I'm here and I'm going to support you. And so she's freaking out because, when it's not your mom, it's very different, and it's a mother-in-law. And the mother-in-law also lost her son, her only son. So they're both grieving. They're both trying to heal and get through this horrible thing that has happened in both of their lives. And as all that's going on, they are creating such a unique and special friendship. It was such a beautiful book, but it was funny because if you all have a mother-in-law, you love that mother-in-law. Well, hopefully you love your mother-in-law, but living with a mother-in-law is going to be very challenging. Living with your own mother is challenging. I love my mother, but I know we would fight all the time. Like, everyone has their ways of doing things, and it just made me laugh. It made me cry. It was such a great, great book. The Academy of Protectors by Gray Holborn. I don't even remember how I found this series, but if you know about Zodiac Academy, it's not similar in the way that like it's exactly like that book, but it is similar in the sense that like there's a bunch of different types of magical beings in one world, and it is at an academy setting. It is different though in the sense that they are fighting certain other types of beings that are bringing attention to the magical world in the human world. So they don't want the humans to know about all of these magical beings or the magical world. They're keeping it like under wraps. This is like an 8 or 9 book series, and I don't even think I slept. I think I read 8 or 9 books within 5 days, literally consumed them back to back to back, didn't stop. I remember looking back and seeing some of my TikToks I made, and I just looked exhausted and like complete crap because I didn't do a gosh darn thing besides read and eat and sleep. Barely sleep, but read and eat and sleep. Very layered characters. This is a slow burn reverse harem. So there is one female, multiple male love interests, but it's very slow burn. It's not all in your face all at once. It was done very well. Sometimes you read books like that and it's like, here's the female, here's all these men, they kidnap her, boom, they're all together somehow. No, this was very slow burn. She meets her characters little by little. There's a lot of mystery going on with different people and their backstories. Very interesting. Very interesting. That's all I'm going to say. Very, very interesting. Very fun. Very addicting and consumable. Very easy to read. If you have not heard of Catherine Cowles, she is a romantic suspense author. This was my first romantic suspense book that I've ever read, and it was absolute perfection. I can't read too many of these back to back because I feel like they all have like, I don't want to call it cookie cutter, but they all have like the same way that a story kind of goes, yet it will still shock you at the end, because normally the endings will always shock you. But this one in particular, I don't see anyone talking about, and it is so good. We are following our FMC Ridley in this one, and she has a podcast, a true crime podcast, where she goes through certain crimes that have been committed and tries to help get them closed. Goes to these towns, interviews people, puts her like sleuthing to the test to try to help these people get closure with their families. And that's because she is very passionate about unclosed cases. Her sister, something happened to her when they were both younger, never been solved, and she is trying to find out what happened to her sister. And she notices that some of these cases seem a little bit similar. So she's following them. She's covering it with a podcast. When she gets to this town, there is a broody and grumpy sheriff that does not want her there. It's a cute little small town. Everybody knows everybody. And he doesn't want this chick messing up what's going on around their town. And of course, they end up falling for each other, right? We all know it. We all know it. But this has some twist in it. I did not see the person who was responsible for everything coming. Did not see it coming. This was fantastic. Had me anxious, sitting on the edge of my seat, like, what is going on? Terragnata and the Heir of the Earth was I don't want to call it a romantasy exactly. It's not an epic fantasy. It's not like a pure romantasy, but I do think it's like a fantasy with romance in it. It was a very unique take on, I guess, like a generic fantasy book where you have fae and shifters, humans, but they're all and elemental powers, but their elemental powers work a little bit differently. It's not the same as most of your elemental powers. And our FMC has earth magic. I never see a female main character having anything but fire, maybe air. I think I've seen one with air. Yeah, but this one has earth. It's a very well fleshed out world with this like ancient magic, and you're learning about the stuff going on and kind of just rooting for this heroine to win. We want her to win. We want the MMC, who I'm not going to say who it is, but we want him and her to be together. But it's difficult. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of drama. This is one like I just don't want to say too much. I feel like I've already said a little bit too much and I barely said anything. I went into it blind. I literally bought this book for the cover because of the dragon on the front, and it did not disappoint. This was one I found randomly through Instagram. I found this author also on, I think it was Instagram, and she had such a unique, crazy idea for her books. I think the fourth book just came out, or maybe ARCs just went out for the fourth book, and it's about to come out. But 3 books are currently out. I binged them. This is Secrets of the Catalog, and picture mysterious libraries where each book in that library opens up to a whole new world. Now, I feel like it is extremely easy for this to have gone extremely wrong, but she did such a fantastic job with this story. You have these librarians, and there are only certain librarians who are able to pick up these books and access the worlds in them. And her mother, I guess, was one of these librarians, and nobody had mentioned that to her. So when her mother passed, she inherited this place that she's living in, and she somehow comes across this library, and now she's introduced to this world. However, it turns out that this library only holds certain books. There are tons of banned books not allowed in this library, tons of banned worlds you are not allowed to access. And that's to keep you safe, right? I will say some of those banned worlds are quite questionable. However, that is where our dilemma lies. So our FMC is going on quite the journey. That's all I'm going to say. There are I don't even know. It's so confusing. There's good and evil, but is the good really good, or is the good evil with like a happy face on it? And is the evil really good, or is all of them good and bad, and everyone should just be able to make their own choices? Do it. Read this series. It is so good. It took me on such a wild journey, and such talent for the author to not just flesh out a whole world, but to flesh out multiple ones because of each book that we're able to access and go into. But yet I didn't feel like anything was lacking. Very, very talented. I think the author's Amelia Spencer. I'm going to double check that, but I'm pretty sure that's who it is. And just fantastic. I never hear anybody talking about these, and somebody else needs to read this. I need to talk about them. This is Fireborne by Rosario Munda. This is a political fantasy, very, very political, but it's a YA political fantasy, if I'm correct. This was marketed to me as similar to Fourth Wing. And like I said, I don't think things should be compared to Fourth Wing because they're not. This does have dragon riders in it, but it's very, very, very political. I happen to like politics, fantasy politics in my books. So for me, I had a great time. I can see why some people might not like this if they go into it for romance and something like that's similar to Fourth Wing, because it's not. There's dragons, rebellion, very complex moral characters. This is a book where you will see characters make decisions, and none of those decisions will have a good outcome. And they have to decide which one will have the best outcome because there's no good decisions here. But I am in charge in this situation and I have to make a choice. And now you're seeing these characters become morally gray in the sense that they're doing their best, but they might not be picking some of the best choices. It will leave you, I cried. This book had me crying. It had me laughing. It had me so angry. This is a completed trilogy. So good. But if you're not prepared for the politics, this is a book where you also don't know who to trust. Very unreliable characters in the sense of how we're being told a story. You're not getting full stories. So you're going off of what you know, but what do you know? Very good. That was one of my favorite series. It still sticks to me. I still think about it and some of the decisions they made, and some of those decisions still bother me. It's hard to be pissed about a decision a character makes when you know why they made that decision and that at the end of the day, they truly meant well, even if they didn't make the decision you wanted them to. So those are some of my absolutely favorite underrated books that I don't hear anybody talking about. And I wish I heard more people talking about it. I wish I had more people to discuss these books with. If you've read any of these, please let me know which ones you did in the comments. And if you have any hidden gems that you don't hear anyone talking about that you think I should read, please drop those below as well. I'm literally always looking for my next obsession. And my next reading vlog that's coming out next Tuesday is actually books that we have discussed in either my comments or through Instagram or through TikTok, books I have never really heard too much about, but some of you all have mentioned. If you love finding new reads like this is a series I will be starting. I have so many other genres with books on my bookshelf that I've absolutely loved and hear nobody talking about. So those will be coming out in the future. Make sure you're following along if you'd like to see those. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. I hope you found at least one new book that might pique your interest. If you are new, please hit that subscribe button. And if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like. I hope y'all have an amazing day, and I will see you in the next one.